I'm Ben Meiselas from the Meidastouch Network, and this is a special report. There are currently bombs going off in Tehran, in Iran. There appears to be a joint military operation underway with Israel and the United States striking Iran, what's being described as assassination strikes that are currently taking place. Israeli media outlets are saying that there have been, quote, several assassination strikes that have been carried out against Iran. This is also being confirmed by the New York Times and Wall Street Journal that this is a joint U.S. and Israeli operation. It is being referred to by Israeli military correspondents like Hallie Button as being called Operation Hand in Hand, meaning Israel and the United States hand in hand. This is a statement that is issued. The story is over. Israel and the United States hand in hand in the next day. More bombs will fall in Iran in any with a lioness, is the statement that was issued. You can see right here from this next image, and hat tip to the fine folks at the OSINT Defender. They do really great work compiling, all of these videos and photos as well. After launching preemptive strikes against Iran, Israel has now declared a state of emergency nationwide, likely in expectation of Iranian retaliation. It's not yet clear what was hit in downtown Tehran, but reports indicate that the areas of the University Street and Jam-Marai area have been targeted. You can see some of the photos right there that we're showing on screen. We started getting videos about a half hour ago or so, and then Israel confirmed that it launched these preemptive strikes. We then learned recently that it was a joint operation called Hand in Hand Operation, United States and Israel. And it does appear that the United States is now at war with Iran. Normally in situations of war, the American people are given some explanation what the hell is going on. We normally hear leading up to a war from the president, from their team to explain, again, what is happening, why it is happening, why this is in the national interest of the United States, what to expect, what are the risks. I think it's fairly unprecedented that you have such a military buildup as what took place over the past few weeks. And now America seemingly at war with Iran and without any real explanation from Donald Trump or anybody in this regime right here. We'll show you some of the photos and video emerging from Tehran and surrounding areas of these explosions. Again, Israeli media saying that these are preemptive strikes against Iran that have been carried out. Early reports and footage of possible Tomahawk land attack missiles, TLAM, en route over Iraq have also surfaced. And again, this is indicative. Now we know that this is a joint U.S.-Israeli action that has been confirmed by Israeli forces. And it's been confirmed as well by multiple independent sources that this is calling Operation Hand in Hand right now. And again, New York Times confirming that the U.S. Is involved in this as well. A U.S. official said the American military strikes on Iran were underway. Folks, we are in war right now. The United States of America at war with Iran without any explanation to the American people, again, about what the hell is happening. We are officially at war right now. It is 10:56 p.m. on the West Coast. For those who are watching this late on the East Coast or those up and about in Europe or elsewhere, here we go. This is something that, I think there was some hope earlier today that this could be avoided. The foreign minister of Oman, in very unusual fashion for a mediator like the foreign minister of Oman to go rush on American TV, because he's not known, this foreign minister, to seek the spotlight like this or to be seen on TV. Went on TV, and it was very interesting when this happened. And if you've been watching some of the videos that I've been doing, I've been talking about it also, that what he seemed to be trying to convey to the American people, though I'm not sure doing it on CBS maybe is the best place to, to do it, is that he talked about what Iran agreed to and said, look, Iran has agreed to do this. I'll play you the clip in a moment. And he tried to emphasize Iran is agreeing more in this deal than the deal that was given to Obama. So I think that's what he thought would appeal to Donald Trump. And the message, if you were reading between the lines, was basically saying to I think our military and to our lawmakers here, I think there was a subtle and secret message being sent that Donald Trump does not want to actually make any deals at all, because the deal being offered is, in terms of a deal you can make with Iran, is the best possible deal that's out there. And Donald Trump didn't want to take it, didn't want to get to yes, because he already had amassed all of these forces. We had the Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier group, the Gerald Ford carrier group out there, hundreds and hundreds of planes, F-35s, F-15s, submarines, this whole military group there. One of the things that our admirals, our generals, our military leaders have been warning about too, though, is that if this drags on, if this is more than a simple day-to-day assassination military strike operation, but ends up lasting multiple days, does the United States even have the munitions right now to be able to sustain a war for a long period of time, months, years? Is the United States prepared for that? Do the United States people, do the people here know what the hell is happening? Because now we're at war yet again, right? We started off invading Venezuela, and then Donald Trump propping up Delcy Rodriguez, the authoritarian vice president of Maduro, who's now running that country. And Donald Trump has set up a Qatari bank account, where he's now selling oil from Venezuela to right-wing oligarch buds, taking the money and putting it in a Qatari bank account for himself. That's what the result of Venezuela is. And we even heard from people like Sean Duffy's wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, this morning, where she said, every time Donald Trump praises Delcy Rodriguez and attacks Machado, he loses more support from the Venezuelan community in Florida. So the outcome of Venezuela's invasion is to prop up the Maduro regime part two, that is a communist regime that prosecutes journalists and that is authoritarian in nature. And so that's what you have there. And now we're in war with Iran, even though Donald Trump said back in June, remember last June, he said he totally obliterated all of the nuclear capabilities. He said it was a perfect success, total obliteration. Iran can never develop nuclear weapons again, or can never enrich uranium. It was a total obliteration. Remember, that's what they sold us on last June. And obviously that was a lie, because everything this regime says is a lie. Then you'll recall in early January, or through lots of January, when there were protesters against the Ayatollah. Remember, Donald Trump posted, go out there, protest against the Ayatollah. We got your back. If the Ayatollah kills a single protester, we're going to come in right away. And it appears that the Ayatollah killed maybe 20, 30,000 of these protesters. And America didn't even have the military equipment anywhere near the region when Donald Trump told the protesters, go out and protest. Then Donald Trump tried to declare a victory by saying that he stopped 800 people who were going to be hanged. And he says he stopped them, the Iranians, the Ayatollah, from hanging 800 people, and that he deserved credit for that. And here we are still on the West Coast, Friday, February 27th, although on the East Coast, and the United States is at war right now. We're going to show you some additional images right here of what it looks like in Tehran right now. We believe that there's been multiple waves of Israeli and United States strikes against Iran. Israel is calling it Operation Hand in Hand. They're making certain statements like the lioness has roared its head, and America and Israel are asserting themselves and showing the world what they're made of, or words to that effect. I want to show you what the foreign minister of Oman, the Omani foreign minister, said earlier today. I've been highlighting this on a lot of the shows, but listen to what he said, because it seemed what he was trying to convey was that Iran was agreeing to basically all of the terms that you would have wanted in a situation, and he seemed to be encouraging Trump and Vance and Hegseth, just take the W, just take the win here, and let's not start a war. Just take the W. But it seemed that they wanted to go to war, and that anything short of regime change was going to be unacceptable, and that they had considered, the only option of invasion. And that's where we're at right now, folks, as the United States and Israel have conducted this joint operation. And America appears to be, I don't know how else to describe it, at war with Iran right now. Let's play this clip of the Omani foreign minister from earlier today.
When you say the heart of the deal, Iran has said this has to be nuclear only. What have you actually agreed upon? Can you give us any sense of why there should be more time?
Because if the ultimate objective is to ensure forever that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, I think we have cracked that problem through these negotiations by agreeing a very important breakthrough that has never been achieved any time before. And I think if we can capture that and build on it, I think a deal is within our reach.
What has Iran agreed to you that they have never done before? Can you give us any sense?
The single most important achievement, I believe, is the agreement that Iran will never, ever have a nuclear material that will create a bomb. This is, I think, a big achievement. This is something that is not in the old deal that was negotiated during President Obama's time. This is something completely new. It really makes the enrichment argument less relevant, because now we are talking about zero stockpiling. And that is very, very important, because if you cannot stockpile material that is enriched, then there is no way you can actually create a bomb, whether you enrich or don't enrich. And I think this is really something that has been missed a lot by the media, and I want to clarify that from the standpoint of a mediator.
So explain that. So the enriched material, the things that could be used as nuclear fuel for a bomb, you're saying Iran would not keep on their own soil?
They would give it up.
They would give it up?
They will not be able to actually accumulate that material that will enable them to create a bomb. There's no accumulation. So there will be zero accumulation, zero stockpiling, and full verification. That is also equally important achievement, I think. A full and comprehensive verification by the IAEA, which is the agency in charge of this file.
The UN nuclear watchdog.
That's
right. So you're saying all enriched material would be shipped someplace else, not Russia, but...
No. The current stockpiles that still exist.
The things that are still in Iran.
I think that there is agreement now that this will be downblended to the lowest level possible, to a neutral level, a natural level, which means, and converted into fuel, and that fuel will be irreversible.
That would be significant
It
if
is
Iran
very
agreed to that,
significant. It is very significant, and I think we have agreement on that, in my view.
in your view.
Yes.
Because
So that was the mediator. That was the Omani foreign minister right there, Badr al-Busayadi. He met with the Trump regime officials. He was shuttling back and forth messages. And you saw right there, he thought that they were moving closer to an agreement. Obviously, there was no agreement reached. Let's show some B-roll so our audience can see what Tehran looks like right now. And you can see the smoke rising from the joint U.S. and Israeli military strikes there, showing you different views of Tehran right now. We have some photos also to share with you so you can see. And as we get more of these photos in, we'll be bringing it to you. And you should let others know if others are interested in getting this information right now. If you have friends, family, anybody, send them this link right now so we can share the knowledge of just what's happening. And we could, talk through this together. Here are some more photos emerging as well. You can see, and as we get more photos, we'll keep sharing them with you. Some updates to report as well. Israel's Mossad agency has now released a call to Iranians, quote, return Iran to its glory days, in a release on its Persian language channel. Emmanuel Fabian writes, as Israel launches strikes on Iran, the Mossad spy agency on its official Persian language Telegram channel calls on Iranians to help return Iran to its glorious days. Our Iranian brothers and sisters, you are not alone. We have launched a highly secure and dedicated Telegram channel, especially for you. Together, we will return Iran to its glorious days, the statement says. The Mossad calls on Iranians to share photos and videos of your just struggle against the regime with us. This is being reported as well. Again, hat tip to the fine folks at the Open Source Intelligence Defender account. They do a good job aggregating this stuff from all the different sources out there. Key government facilities across Tehran and Iran are being targeted as a reported second wave of U.S.-Israeli strikes target intelligence headquarters, the presidential palace, and other key facilities across the city. Per Reuters, Iran's supreme leader has already been moved to a secure location. The targets of the strikes and recent reports from Israeli media that assassination strikes were carried out do indicate that at least a wave of strikes, or the first wave of strikes, were decapitation strikes. More to come. And that's how it's being described by now Israeli and U.S. officials, that these were decapitation, assassination strikes. It's being called Operation Hand in Hand, U.S. and Israel going it alone together against Iran. No one else seems to be joining this with U.S. and Israel. I've read for you the statement there from the Mossad. And I'll just remind everybody as well of what Donald Trump said back in June when there were strikes by the United States. Then, remember, Donald Trump announced it was total obliteration. Everything was wiped out. Perfect victory. Everything was great. You all remember that, right? I mean, surprise, surprise, Donald Trump lied to us. I mean, he's a liar. Let's play that clip just to remind you of what he said.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Yeah, we know that that's not, that didn't happen. And I want to contextualize this as well, because I think an audience like this on the Meidastouch network, we can hold a lot of complex thoughts together, right? I think we can recognize that the Ayatollah is a brutal regime. I think we can recognize that a free, democratic, democracy-loving Iran with freedoms and human rights is great. And that's what we want. And I think that we would all agree that the Ayatollah is bad. And in an ideal world, the Ayatollah would not be that leader. And they're, especially when we see some of those, I know when I see the photos of Iran from decades ago, before the revolution, and you saw people studying and the freedoms they seem to have enjoyed and all of that, that certainly seems to be so much more preferred. I think that's perhaps an understatement. And our hearts and our solidarity and our thoughts, I wish I could say more than that, are with the people of Iran who are forced to live under a repressive and brutal regime that takes away their rights and creates all of these horrible circumstances. And especially recently, we know about the brutal crackdown by the Ayatollah on those protests. Could be as many as 30,000 protesters killed. And in the strongest terms, we condemn the Ayatollah. We condemn that regime. As I said, though, this is a smart audience. We can hold complex thoughts. At the same time, does that mean, as Americans, does that mean the United States of America engages in regime change? Does that mean that the United States joins with Israel and starts a war against Iran that places our soldiers, American Navy, American Army, American Air Force, American Marines, American soldiers, to place our soldiers' lives at risk, to place others in the region's life at risk, to expend our treasury and our resources to potentially create a broader war in the Middle East? I mean, we already know right now Pakistan's at war with Afghanistan. While these strikes are taking place, there's a war taking place between Pakistan and Afghanistan. We know the situation is very tenuous in Syria. We know that Syria has gone with this very repressive crackdown on the Kurds. We know that some of the other countries in the region were specifically warning against a strike on Iran about the destabilizing effect it could have there. We've been hearing from our generals warning that America doesn't have the munitions and weapons to potentially see this through for more than a few weeks or more than 10 days even. Americans don't want this war. Okay, at the end of the day, we can say this is a repressive regime, but we can also say America doesn't want this war. America wants healthcare. America wants to be able to afford homes. Americans want to be able to afford a home and afford healthcare and live the lives here. I mean, Trump's a total fraud and a phony. So when I say Trump ran on, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, the guy's a liar. He's a fraud. He's a fraud about everything. But he would always say, no wars, no more wars, no endless wars in the Middle East, none of that, none of that, none of that. But with everything he says, he's a con artist. He's a fraud. He is a felon. He's an actual fraud. He's a predator. And I would be remiss. You probably won't hear this on corporate news, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention, as more and more comes out about Donald Trump and the Epstein files, this is also a wag the dog moment, in my opinion. He needs to change the narrative away from the cover-up of FBI 302 witness reports and Lutnick on the island and the cover-up of all the Trump references in the files and the DOJ taking the website down. So here we go. Could have predicted that one. And here we are. And so I think it's important that, we reflect that America shouldn't. And let me make one more point. If we should be at war with Iran, and as I said, in my own personal view, I don't think America should be in a war right now. As brutal and as horrible as I think the regime is, as the Ayatollah is, I just think there's so many problems and issues happening here in the United States. But assume we should be at war with Iran. Just assume, for the sake of argument, we should. Shouldn't we be building up alliances rather than threatening our allies? Right? Who's going to help us out? You think Canada's going to help us out? You think Denmark's going to help us out after threatening to invade Greenland? You think the European Union's going to help us out after tariffs against the world? You think Japan's going to help you out after you've coddled China? You think South Korea is going to help you out after you've, attacked them and attacked their people working in Jordan? Who's going to help you? You think Australia is going to help you after you've completely ignored and demeaned Albanese and the United States, Australia, UK nuclear submarine agreements? Like who's going to help you? Right? I mean, I think we should reflect on that. But also assume you want to go to war with Iran. Shouldn't you be trying to explain to the American people why? At the very least, even if you're someone who thinks we should go to war with Iran, would you agree that before a war starts, there should be, I don't know, call me old-fashioned, but you go to Congress and you get authorization? Right? Isn't that kind of what's in the Constitution? Isn't that kind of what's required? Right? Aren't there things also called war powers resolutions? Right? Don't you have to vote to declare war? Shouldn't you be bringing a message to the American people now? Shouldn't you? But here we are. Let's show some of these photos again and some of these videos of Tehran right now. So the audience that's just joining can see what it looks like after the strikes. Operation Hand in Hand is what it's being called. Assassination strikes, decapitation strikes underway. U.S. and Israel going it alone, hand in hand, if you will, attacking Tehran. From what we've heard, the Ayatollah has been moved to a secure location and has not been taken out. That's what's been reported to Reuters. Key government facilities across Tehran and Iran are being targeted as the second wave of U.S.-Israeli strikes target intelligence headquarters, presidential palace, and other key facilities across the city, per Reuters. Iran's supreme leader has already been moved to a secure location. The targets of the strikes and recent reports from Israeli media that assassination strikes were carried out do indicate that at least this first wave of strikes were decapitation strikes. Then the Israeli spy agency, the Mossad, they've been putting out messages basically telling the protesters, get out there, we've got you. Our Iranian brothers and sisters, you are not alone. We have launched the highly secure and dedicated Telegram channel, especially for you. Together we will return Iran to its glorious days. The Mossad calls on Iranians to share photos and videos of your just struggle against the regime with us. And that's kind of the latest right there. You've seen the photos. Earlier today, let's play some of those clips, Jeremy, of when Donald Trump was in Corpus Christi and he was being asked about war with Iran. Let's show the clip where, let's show the clip where it says, do you have a message for Iran? Let's play that.
Amazing.
Do you have a message for Iran?
Well, they should make a deal, but they don't want to quite go far enough, and it's too bad. Look, we've been playing with them for 47 years, and that's a long time. They've been blowing the legs off our people, blowing the face off our people, the arms. They've been knocking out ships one by one. But every month there's something else, so you can't put up with it too long. We're not happy with the negotiation. They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words. We're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say we're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they just can't quite get there. They want to enrich a little bit. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation.
Okay, the next one let's play is about the concern on oil prices. Let's play that clip.
That would be one of the dumbest.
Are you concerned that striking Iran might raise oil prices, which could affect your economic agenda?
I'm not concerned. No. I'm concerned about people's lives. I'm concerned about long-term health for this country. That's what I'm concerned about.
There you go, right there. Just gathering some other information. Let's show for people just joining, Jeremy, some of the footage again as well. This is what it looks like. These are decapitation strikes. It's been unconfirmed, but reports that Iran's defense minister may have been one of the targets as well. Fox News is now also reporting that sources tell them that Iran's supreme leader has been moved out of Tehran to a secure location. So those decapitation strikes did not get the supreme leader. Israeli media is saying that unnamed sources close to the matter tell them that the entire senior Iranian command structure is the target of the ongoing strikes. This, as Israel says, they are preparing for several days of war. I suppose it would be nice if the United States government would like to, I don't know, maybe tell us what the hell's happening. Maybe. Again, maybe call me old-fashioned, but I think I'd like to hear from the United States government that's at war, because we, the people, are the ones who are paying for this thing, and we, the people, are the ones who are suffering here in this country. Officials have told the New York Times that dozens of airstrikes right now are being carried out from bases in the region and on one or more of those aircraft carriers. And you'll recall that there's both the Gerald Ford and the Abraham Lincoln are kind of on different sides, but surrounding Iran. Additionally, officials have told New York Times that this operation will be far more widespread and extensive than Operation Midnight Hammer from last year, which Donald Trump said, though, was total and complete obliteration. Also, according to Reuters, the planned date for these strikes was decided on jointly by Israel and the United States weeks ago. So this was already pre-planned that it was going to happen on this date. So I suppose all of the negotiations that have been claimed were all just bullshit, excuse my language, to begin with. Going to try to get you some other footage as well of these cruise missiles being launched by Israel that were being spotted over the skies of Iraq as they continued on toward Iran. We'll try to get some of that footage as well for you, but we'll keep you updated every step of the way here. Again, Jeremy, for all of those people who are just joining, again, for the sake of trying to avoid being redundant, we're going to keep adding to the visuals of what's happening in Tehran. I'm just going to give you, as soon as I get it, all of the info. Let's pull up, again, some of these videos and photos so people can see what Tehran looks like right now. Operation Hand in Hand is what it's being called. Joint Israel-U.S. operation. Israel saying they're at war. They've declared a state of emergency in Israel. Aircraft carriers by the United States are being used. We're seeing missiles over Iraq as well. It's being called a decapitation or assassination exercise. Unconfirmed reports that some of the top defense officials in Iran are being targeted, that there's a military base where it was believed a lot of Iranian military officials were at that was one of the main targets today, that the Ayatollah has been moved, survived this, and the Ayatollah has been moved to a secure location. Israel's preparing for its own retaliation against Israel. Earlier in the day, we had learned about all of the embassies that were clearing out its staff and telling people to leave. Chinese embassy in Iran, Canada's embassy in Iran, U.S. embassy in Israel, etc. We're all telling its people, get out now, get out now. That was one of the signs that was likely going to happen today. I'll show you some more clips right here of Donald Trump, what he was saying in Corpus Christi. We have the clip, Jeremy, of when the reporter asked, how close are you to making a decision on the strikes today? Let's play that clip if we've got it.
So you're making a decision on strikes. How close are you to making a decision on strikes?
I'd rather not tell you. you would have had the greatest scoop in history, right?
You know, I mean, just ridiculous. According to Reuters, the planned date for the strikes was decided on jointly by Israel and the U.S. weeks ago. I mean, that last clip, I can say, oh, well, it's impeachable. Impeach the guy, of course. But like, that doesn't do it justice. You think this is a joke? You think this is a joke? You think this is what? The Apprentice reality TV show? I mean, you think this is funny? I mean, you think this is hilarious that now the United States is at war with Iran, and that the only ally the United States has is Israel, and we're at war with Iran? You think that's you think that's funny? Let's show what the cruise missiles look like over Iraq, just so people can see what that looks like. These are believed to be Israeli missiles, but you can see them all flying over Iraq right now. Take a look right there. And we believe these may be Israeli, but it's possible these are coming from the U.S. aircraft carriers that are there as well. You see the cruise missiles right there. It's a wild scene for those. You can see right there. I'll just let it play out so everybody can see. And for Donald Trump was, why would I tell you that could be the greatest scoop in history? It's not a scoop, man. These are people's lives. These are people's freaking lives right now that we are dealing with. I'll show you a photo right now of the air and naval assets that are currently in place. As I mentioned, you have the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group right there. You see it, GRF. CSG, got the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group right there. You see the air assets right there from European Center, EUCOM. You got the air assets from CENTCOM right there. You can see the other naval assets depicted below. Obviously a massive military buildup. And a lot of these ships too have been stretched thin in terms of their deployments. I mean, we know that the Gerald Ford, has served successive terms of deployment, and that the morale was low there. There were issues with the vacuum sewage system there. It had to get some repairs recently in Greece. Then it went back out to the area right by Israel. But there was, all the sewage issues there, and the soldiers have been away from their family for very long periods of time, missing the births of the children and marriages and funerals and the like. And there have been lots of reports on that as well. I did a whole video on that this morning. Let me play again quickly what the Omani foreign minister said from earlier today. I'll just play it quickly. We won't play the whole clip, Jeremy, so look for my signal. But, just think about it from the perspective of this Oman foreign minister who believed that he was making significant progress in reaching a deal. And what was supposed to happen, and this is very Trumpian, that's why you can't trust this guy on literally anything. What was supposed to happen was that even though there was no deal reached today, at least if you trust the Omani foreign minister, there was significant progress. They were going to resume talks on Monday. That's what Omani foreign minister Badr al-Busadi said. So speaking earlier today on CBS, Face the Nation, Omani foreign minister Badr al-Busadi, who met Friday with Vice President J.D. Vance and other senior officials in Washington, said that the recent talks are approaching an agreement which would see Iran give up all of its highly enriched uranium, while the remainder is developed under international oversight into fuel for nuclear power plants. Quote, I think that there is an agreement now that this will be down blended to the lowest level possible, to a neutral level, a natural level, and converted into fuel, and that fuel will be irreversible, Badr told CBS, with technical talks regarding this agreement to begin on Monday. I just want you to think about that. We don't need to play the clip of the guy again. Thanks for showing that, Jeremy. It was believed that there was an agreement in principle reached today where Iran would give up any ambitions of enriching its uranium, would allow all of the oversight to take place, essentially agree to all of the U.S. demands, essentially, but that there would need to be some additional technical details on Monday, and that people would resume the talks again on Monday. I think that one of the reasons that the Omani foreign minister went on CBS is that I think that he went on TV to deliver the message. I think what he was trying to say is that he made a lot of progress, and he was trying to say, could we just wait until Monday because we've got more progress than anybody expected? And I think his hope was that if he put that message out, some people would listen and say, come on, just give him until Monday. And obviously that did not, that's not what happened. We have the clip of Donald Trump in Corpus Christi, and we already know while this foreign minister was doing the mediation, it was already decided that the U.S. and Israel were going to invade today. It was already decided weeks ago, apparently, or months ago, Reuters is reporting. So let's talk about what Donald Trump said when he was asked, how close to a decision are you? Let's play that clip first.
So you're making a decision on strikes. How close are you to making a decision on strikes?
I'd rather not tell you. You would have had the greatest scoop in history, right? You know?
Let's play the next clip of Do You Have a Message for Iran? Let's play this clip.
Amazing.
Do you have a message for Iran's supreme leader?
Well, they should make a deal, but they don't want to quite go far enough, and it's too bad. Look, we've been playing with them for 47 years, and that's a long time. They've been blowing the legs off our people, blowing the face off our people, the arms. They've been knocking out ships one by one. And every month there's something else. So you can't put up with it too long. We're not happy with the negotiation. They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words. We're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say we're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they just can't quite get there. They want to enrich a little bit. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation.
I mean, I just can't believe we have the biggest idiot in the world handling these things. I mean, we have literally the biggest moron. We have this demented idiot. Do we have the clip? Just to, I don't like the name calling, but I don't know what else to describe this guy as. Do we have the clip, Jeremy, of what he was actually saying in Corpus Christi, just so people can get a sense of like what the hell he was talking about? Like, show the one where he was talking about the policeman and what he said to the policeman. There was a tough policeman who said that he has lots more sex with his wife now because of Trump and the economy. So he has sex with his wife now more or something. This is what Donald Trump was talking about. At the same time, he was saying that about Iran. Like, we have a literal demented individual doing this here. Play this clip.
I have a policeman. I tell the story. Same guy. I meet him. But this wonderful, tough policeman from New York, he's taken good care of us. And he said, sir, it's so good my married life has gotten so much better. Why? My wife thought I was a loser financially. I couldn't make any money because my 401k was dying for years. And now she thinks I'm the smartest financial genius ever. It's made my sex life good. It's made my life good. It's given me a tremendous boost in life, sir. This is a big, tough cop. He said, my wife treated me like a dog, and now she admires my financial genius, and I haven't done anything. My 401k has gone through the roof. So I said, thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell that is. Like, I genuinely don't even know. Like, I don't even understand what the hell that is. And that comes at the same time. And as I mentioned before, I don't know what you think, but I believe that this is also related to Donald Trump feeling cornered by the Epstein files, people uncovering that he's covering up more and more documents and witness interviews that have his name all over it. 50 terabytes of documents are believed to still potentially be being concealed, right? The deposition of the Clintons backfired in Trump's faces. And so change the topic. Let's go to war again. Let's not tell the American people. Do we have that clip of Congressmember Garcia from earlier in the day as well? If we've got that clip as well.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee. He appears in the Epstein files next to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell almost more than anybody else. So it's time for the president to answer questions about why files are missing from the DOJ, why there's been a White House cover-up, and why we continue in that administration to call this investigation a hoax. And finally, I'll review the call that we made yesterday that we are demanding, again, that the press and the public be allowed inside the depositions so that you can hear the answers and the questions directly. And if that's not going to happen, they need to release a full, unedited review of the questions and video within 24 hours of the end of these depositions. That means that the Secretary Clinton deposition needs to be released immediately today.
Now, Donald Trump just posted a video of himself on Truth Social, his social media platform that lost $732 million last year, made like $3.7 million in revenue, lost $732 million. And now his social media platform is being merged with a company called, I think it's called TAE, which is a nuclear fusion energy company. And again, nuclear fusion doesn't have any commercial applications at this point. There have been some fusion breakthroughs, but it's not actually a functional source of energy. So while he destroys solar and wind, he is merging his social media company into a nuclear fusion company that has spun off. And the nuclear fusion company seems like it's going to take over the social media company, which lost $732 million last year on $3.7 million in revenue. And I'm bringing it up because rather than address the American people on TV or talk to people about it, he posts this on his failing social media platform. And so he posted moments ago an 8-minute video. And, I'm very reluctant to post. I haven't watched it yet. And I'm very reluctant to post videos of Trump that I haven't watched because I need to fact check it. So what I told the producers that I want to do, if you'll allow it, is I'm going to break it up into 2 parts as opposed to just play the whole thing through. And we'll watch it together for the first time once my producers tell me it's queued up. And then I'll be able to, I'll stop it. We can go through what he said in those 4 minutes, fact check it, and then we can talk a little bit. Then we can show it again. But we'll be watching that together. I haven't seen it yet. I just want to give you that disclaimer. But I think, given the import of all of this, I have to play. It's not like the State of the Union, which I could counter program. I'm going to have to play. I'm going to have to play it. Show you this map in the meantime. Again, hat tip to the open source Defender account. They do great work here. As strikes are ongoing against Iran, all flights over Iran and Iraq have now diverted. Iranian officials are now responding, telling Reuters that they are preparing a, quote, crushing response can be expected from them after the U.S. and Israel kicked off a widespread strike campaign targeting key government facilities and ministries. Also, as this account points out, as of yet, we have not seen an Iranian response outside of rhetoric promising retaliation. The joint U.S.-Israeli operation has likely limited their ability to marshal and field assets to respond amidst the bombardment, although I guess we will see shortly. Government buildings, including ministry headquarters, are actively being targeted by the ongoing joint U.S.-Israeli strikes. Additionally, strikes have been reported in the cities of Qom, Isfahan, Kermanshah, and Karaj. So not just in Tehran, strikes taking place all over Iran right now. And as we wait to pull up this video of that Trump just made describing the military strikes, I will just kind of recap very, very briefly for those just joining. About an hour ago, we learned that as soon as we went live, we've been doing this for about 15 minutes. So it took me about 10 minutes just to confirm what was taking place before going live. So about an hour ago, we started seeing strikes taking place in the Tehran region of Iran. Wanted to make sure, check with our sources before going live. We went live. And then what became very clear is that there was a joint U.S. and Israeli military operation against Iran. Israeli officials then confirmed they were calling it Operation Hand in Hand. They talked about the lioness has been awakened, and that they are engaged in this hand-in-hand operation, a decapitation, assassination exercise. Unconfirmed reports that the defense minister of Iran was targeted. The Ayatollah, from all accounts, was not assassinated and was taken to a secure location. That was reported by Iranian officials to Reuters. Certain military facilities across Iran had been targeted and are continuing to be targeted. There was an initial wave of strikes, another wave of strikes. At least two major waves of strikes have taken place thus far. We've been showing you various videos and photos inside Tehran of what it looks like with the smoke, with the explosions taking place. We've been showing you even what it looks like with these ballistic missiles over Iraq that appear to be fired either from aircraft carrier groups or perhaps from Israel. And you can see these ballistic missiles, or other types of missiles just shooting over the farmland right now. Like you can look carefully, you can see the bombardment of what it looks like. This is Iraq that you're watching as these missiles head to their targets in Iran. Then you can see, let's go to Iran, you can see where they hit. And of course, we'll be getting you more footage, more photos as well throughout the day. Okay. With the disclaimer that I haven't watched this yet, I know it's an authentic video, so I'm going to play it. I'll play you the first 4 minutes. We'll watch and see what he says, and then I'll be back shortly. This is the statement that Trump posted on his failing social media platform moments ago.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, The regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore.
For those wondering the video source, it's posted on Trump's Truth Social. Okay. Why is he wearing a hat? I know it's seriously. Why are you wearing a cap for? He was sweaty, wearing a cap while talking. That's how he's announcing the United States is going to war with Iran. Wearing a $2 USA cap. What the hell are we doing? Sweating, disgusting looking, lying about everything. The hell are you talking about? Didn't you say Operation Midnight Hammer obliterated everything? Wasn't that what you told us in June? Everything was obliterated. You declared victory in June. Now you're unlawfully. Isn't this what you said last June? Let's play what you said last June. Let's play it.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Yeah, until the Epstein files came out. Yeah, it's the reality of the situation. We're not stupid. You know, when you watch this coverage on corporate news, they probably won't mention that. Okay, it was totally obliterated, and then the Epstein files came out. Then it's not obliterated anymore. We got to go to war. But we're not going to tell the people. We're just going to send our aircraft carrier groups and give no explanation. And then once we go to war without congressional authorization, which is criminal, right? I mean, it's crime. What's happening, right? It's as much as I despise the Ayatollah, as much as I despise this Iranian regime, as much as my heart goes out to the people of Iran who live under this repressive regime, not condoning what this regime is doing, but I am saying that in the United States of America, we've got issues here we got to deal with. Healthcare is being ripped away. People can't afford rent. People can't afford food. We've got ICE and Border Patrol, Gestapo killing people here, invading our cities and towns here in the United States. We've got people suffering here. We're being told that there's not enough money for the American people. Sorry, not enough money for you. Not enough money. We don't have any resources. And then we go to war with Iran, and then the idiot wears the cap and is sweaty wearing the hat. He's like, and here's what we're doing. We're going to war. We have to do it. We have to do it for your protection and your safety. I don't care what political party you're from. This should outrage you, what we're watching. This should outrage you. This doesn't fill me with patriotism. This doesn't fill me with God bless the USA, sing songs. This makes me freaking pissed. This makes me furious. I don't even know the words to describe how livid I am that the United States is now at war and our only ally is Israel against Iran. And that's the message we get. Some felon, some sexual predator, some fraud wearing a freaking $2 made in China cap. Let's play more of what he has to say. Here, let's play the other half of the speech.
Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces.
Let's play another, the third part of that video.
I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
And with that, the United States is at war with Iran. You heard there in that video posted exclusively on Donald Trump's social media platform, Truth Social, he called for Iranians to take back their government, adding that it may be their chance or their last chance for a very long time. So he's actively and openly telling people, go out to the streets and take back Iran right now. After the last time he said that, it resulted in tens of thousands of individuals being massacred. As many as 30,000 Iranians may have been massacred by the Ayatollah in this brutal regime. And Trump said, we would save you. And then 30,000 got massacred. So we'll see if this time they're going to be out there again responding to that call, and then what the response is going to be from this regime. And so now one of the things, by the way, it's the operation started off being called Hand in Hand, and now it's being called Operation Lion's Roar, U.S. and Israel versus Iran. That's Operation Lion's Roar is how it's being referred to right now. And we'll keep you posted here on the Meidastouch Network every step of the way here. And again, just for those joining now, just a brief recap again of the developments that have taken place over the past hour and 20 minutes. Started to learn there were strikes on Tehran. We confirmed that indeed there was a military operation underway. First, we believed it was just Israel. Then it was confirmed it was joint Israel and the United States. Photos and video from Tehran started coming in, and then from other cities as well. Military structures were being targeted. We believe the head of Iranian's judiciary was targeted and potentially killed. We believe the defense minister was targeted, not sure if killed. The Ayatollah, through his spokesperson, communicated to Reuters that he was able to escape and is in a secure location right now as we speak. It's been referred to now as Operation Lion's Roar. A decapitation and assassination efforts are underway to try to kill people in the Iranian regime. Israel has declared a state of emergency. Iran has said that it will be responding with overwhelming force and retaliating with overwhelming force. Israel has referred to what it did with the United States as a preemptive strike. That's how it's being referred. Iranian officials told Reuters they are preparing a crushing response in return. That's why there's a state of emergency in Israel right now. As of this moment, Iran has not launched any retaliatory strikes. Not sure if that's because they're incapable of doing it, if they are waiting, if they don't have the capabilities, or if it is imminent. But we are watching for what Iran is going to be doing next, and we expect steps to be taken there soon, and what that looks like. About 20 minutes ago, Donald Trump posted a video of himself on his social media app, Truth Social. He's wearing a baseball cap. He looks sweaty. It was a weird video, very strange very strange way to deliver a message that we're at war wearing a baseball cap like that, and pretty incoherent. But he told the people of Iran, go out on the streets, retake your government. I guess he's calling for them to revolt. He said that if Iran was ever able to get nuclear weapons, that it would then pose this existential threat to the United States. And that's why he said after Operation Midnight Hammer from last June, when he said the nuclear capabilities were totally obliterated. By totally obliterated, he meant not really totally obliterated. And so that's why we have to do it again. And from all accounts, we're now preparing to be at war for a very long time. I think that in Trump's mind, he hopes that this is limited strikes and then that it ends. But we believe that this could be far more extensive. Officials have told the New York Times this operation will be far more widespread and extensive than Operation Midnight Hammer from last year. And as we speak, there have been multiple waves, dozens of airstrikes being carried out from bases in the region and one or more aircraft carriers. We know from the graphic of the capabilities that we have out there, there are two main aircraft carrier groups, as you see, the Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, and the Gerald Ford. You can see that right there. Hundreds of aircraft that we have, submarines. We have a ton of military capabilities out there right now. Perhaps one of the biggest buildups, really, since the Gulf War, maybe even bigger. The Gerald Ford had some issues recently regarding its plumbing. That's why it had to go to Greece recently for to get some fixing. Did that. Now it's back in the area. You've got those two ships surrounding Iran. Interested to see what's going to happen in the Strait of Hormuz. Is Iran going to try to shut that down? And was Iran able to get these supersonic missiles from China that it's going to be using? Last time we saw Iran, to some degree of success, use those ballistic missiles to strike into Israel. And, while most of those ballistic missiles were struck down by Israel's kind of Iron Dome system, if you will, it still caused some real damage, some real devastation. And so that's what we're going to be kind of tracking next, is what retaliatory steps are happening. Bitcoin is dropping. Bitcoin is dropping as well, but Donald Trump said that he's the Bitcoin president. Bitcoin's now at 63,000. It's dropped about 3% in the past few hours, past hour or so. I mean, it may be in the 50s soon. Rough day on the market today as well, and we expect oil prices to spike as well. And this is on top of the significant inflation as well that we saw today in the PPI readout. Let's show the clip of, I want to show a few clips right now. Let's show the clip of, I don't want to show the clip of Donald Trump anymore from today. We saw him wearing the hat when he just talked about going to war with Iran. Let's show the one where, okay, we'll show the one where with Trump on oil. Let's play that one, Trump on oil.
That would be one of the dumber.
Are you concerned that striking Iran might raise oil prices, which could affect your economic agenda?
I'm not concerned. No. I'm concerned about people's lives. I'm concerned about long-term health for this country. That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, if you're concerned about that, maybe you want to explain to people why we're going to war. By the way, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this. Did it seem to you that maybe ChatGPT wrote that speech for Donald Trump? It sounded a lot like a ChatGPT written speech that Donald Trump delivered, sweaty and wearing that USA hat. So I'll let you, maybe someone run that through an AI software and ask what are the probabilities that ChatGPT wrote that. Jeremy, do we have the, let's do the clip. Do you have a message for Iran? Let's play that one too. Okay.
Amazing.
Do you have a message for Iran Supreme Leader?
Well, they should make a deal, but they don't want to quite go far enough, and it's too bad. Look, we've been playing with them for 47 years, and that's a long time. They've been blowing the legs off our people, blowing the face off our people, the arms. They've been knocking out ships one by one. And every month there's something else. So You can't put up with it too long. We're not happy with the negotiation. They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words. We're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say we're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they just can't quite get there. They want to enrich a little bit. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation.
Some additional facts let's talk about. As we mentioned, Israel has named the operation against Iran Roaring Lion, and the name follows the operation of the 12-day war in June that Israel dubbed Rising Lion. So this is called Roaring Lion. That was called Rising Island. Residents in Tehran, in Iran, and local journalists are saying that landlines in the city were down and only mobile phones had sporadic reception, per New York Times. If you look at some of this open source stuff is giving us real granular data. Live metrics are showing a disruption to internet access in parts of Iran, including Tehran, with connectivity at only 54% of its ordinary levels. The Israeli attack on Iran officially began at 8:10 a.m. local time, according to two Israeli senior defense officials familiar with the planning. According to the officials, the combined targets include key figures in Iran, and this is an extensive attack that's expected to at least last for several days, according to the New York Times. You have Reza Pahlavi releasing a statement as well, descendant of the Shah, saying, I'll read you some of the statement from Reza. Moments of destiny lie ahead of us. The aid of the United States promised to the brave people of Iran has now arrived. This is a humanitarian intervention, and its target is the Islamic Republic, its repressive apparatus, and its machinery of slaughter, not the country and the great nation of Iran. But even with the arrival of this aid, the final victory will still be forged by our hands. It is we, the people of Iran, who will finish the job in this final battle. The time to return to the streets is near. Now that the Islamic Republic is collapsing, my message to the country's military, police, and security forces is clear. You have sworn an oath to protect Iran and the Iranian people, not the Islamic Republic and its leaders. Your duty is to defend the people, not a regime that has taken our homeland hostage. Join the people and help bring about a stable and secure transition. That's his statement as well. Donald Trump says that we're going to annihilate Iran's Navy. We're going to annihilate them. We showed you the footage of what appears to be those cruise missiles going over Iraq, reportedly en route to Iran. And again, as of right now, Iran has not retaliated against Israel or against anybody in the region. We've just seen the explosions in Tehran and some of the nearby cities. We've been showing you that as well. Donald Trump right now is at Mar-a-Lago. CNN is reporting Trump monitoring the strikes from Mar-a-Lago. White House official says. And he released that video message that we shared with you earlier, where he was wearing the hat. And again, it looked a little bit like ChatGPT wrote that. Israel's Homefront Command has now announced the retaliation is beginning right now from Iran, folks. So Israel's Homefront Command has announced that missiles have been launched from Iran and that missile alerts are expected to be in the coming minutes. And so the moment we see what that retaliation looks like, to the extent ballistic missiles are hitting Israel, we will be here to let you know as well. But we can now confirm that Israel's Homefront Command has announced that missiles have been launched from Iran and that missile alerts are to be expected in the coming minutes. So for anybody who expected that Iran was going to go down without a fight was mistaken there as well. There were some reports that Gholam Hussein Moshani Ejel, the head of the judiciary in Iran, was eliminated, but we're still trying to gather more data on that. There was some suggestion that the defense minister and other top defense people were targeted as well. in these decapitation strikes by Israel and the United States. But as Donald Trump is describing it, major combat operations against Iran are officially underway. You can try to pull up right now what the Israeli Defense Forces are saying. Here's what the Israeli Defense Forces are reporting. A short while ago, the IDF identified missiles launched from Iran towards Israel. Defensive systems are operating to intercept the threat. In the past few minutes, the Homefront Command sent a precautionary directive directly to mobile phones in the relevant area. So that's the IDF confirming that Iran has now retaliated, and we will keep you all posted as well. An hour ago, the IDF posted the following. Following situational assessment, it was determined that as of today at 8 a.m., immediate changes will be made to the Homefront Command guidelines. And then in the last few minutes, sirens were sounded all throughout Israel with an advance instruction alert directly to cellular devices to stay within the proximity of protected spaces. This is a proactive alert to prepare the public for the possibility of missiles being launched towards the state of Israel. And we now know that sirens were sounded in several areas across Israel following the identification of missiles launched from Iran toward Israel. At this time, the IAF is operating to intercept the strike threats where necessary to remove the threat. So that's what the IDF is reporting. And I'm trying to just gather for you all the most up-to-date news here. We'll keep keeping an eye out for it as well. And what I just read for you is now being reported over on the open source network as well. Per a release from the IDF, after missile launches towards Israel were detected, air defense systems are now working to intercept incoming projectiles right there. I want to go back to earlier today, though, where we had, again, let's just play where I think lots of people thought there was going to be a breakthrough. The Omani foreign minister was on CBS. If we've got that clip, Jeremy, I want to play what the Omani foreign minister had to say. Let's play that clip.
When you say the heart of the deal, Iran has said this has to be nuclear only. What have you actually agreed upon? Can you give us any sense of why there should be more time?
Because if the ultimate objective is to ensure forever that Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb, I think we have cracked that problem through these negotiations by agreeing a very important breakthrough that has never been achieved any time before. And I think if we can capture that and build on it, I think a deal is within our reach.
What has Iran agreed to you that they have never done before? Can you give us any sense?
The single most important achievement, I believe, is the agreement that Iran will never, ever have a nuclear material that will create a bomb. This is, I think, a big achievement. This is something that is not in the old deal that was negotiated during President Obama's time. This is something completely new. It really makes the enrichment argument less relevant because now we are talking about zero stockpiling. And that is very, very important because if you cannot stockpile material that is enriched, then there is no way you can actually create a bomb, whether you enrich or don't enrich. And I think this is really something that has been missed a lot by the media, and I want to clarify that from the standpoint of a mediator.
So explain that. So the enriched material, the things that could be used as nuclear fuel for a bomb, you're saying Iran would not keep on their own soil?
They would give it up.
They would give it up?
They will not be able to actually accumulate that material that will enable them to create a bomb.
Where
There's
would
no
that-
accumulation. So there will be zero accumulation, zero stockpiling, and full verification. That is also equally important achievement, I think. A full and comprehensive verification by the IAEA, which is the agency in charge of this file.
The UN nuclear watchdog.
That's
So
right.
you're saying all enriched material would be shipped someplace else, not Russia, but
No, the current stockpiles that still exist,
the things that are still in Iran.
I think that there is agreement now that this will be downblended to the lowest level possible,
Okay.
to neutral level, a natural level, which means, and converted into fuel, and that fuel will be irreversible.
That would be significant
It
if
is
Iran
very
agreed
significant. It is very significant, and I think we have agreement on that, in my view.
to that, in your view.
Yes.
Because
Your view is wrong because what's the mission? What I remember that Chat GPT speech that Donald Trump gave moments ago. What's the mission? What's the objective? To take out the regime? What's to destroy Iran? What's the objective? What's the mission here? Is it the Jeffrey Epstein war? Is that the mission? Is the mission to just go to war and then wing it, figure it out? Just figure it out, just like the Trump's casinos and just like his social media platform that lost $720 million last year and 3.7 million in revenue. What's the objective? What's the goal? What are we doing? I think it's the Jeffrey Epstein war. I think that's what we should call it. I think the mission is it's the Jeffrey Epstein war. That seems to be the only mission, because what the hell are we doing? And he gives the speech with the sweaty and the baseball cap, and I just think that they all think we're stupid. I really do. I think that they believe that they can just convince us of everything. And that Trump is so used to his MAGA sheeple that we'll just be like, okay, I get it. And let's be clear. I mean, the Ayatollah, horrible person. The regime, horrible regime. Repressive, authoritarian. I feel for the people of Iran. I do. I think what Donald Trump did to the people of Iran last month when he told them to go out and protest and he's got their back and 30,000 people got massacred is one of the most horrific and horrible things. I hope and pray and wish whatever for a free and democratic Iran. I do. I also care about a free and democratic United States of America. I care about people in my country having health care and being able to live and being able to afford their rent and be able to afford homes. And I care about our soldiers and our troops. What's the objective that they're being sent out there for? I mean, is the objective to overthrow the regime? So let's just assume, for the sake of argument, the next 3-4 days that's accomplished. You think that it's going to be a kumbaya moment in the Middle East? You think that's what it's going to be? You think everyone's going to be, this is amazing? Or you think that in Iran, when they get messages from the Mossad in Israel, that they want a Benjamin Netanyahu proxy government to run Iran? You think that when you have Mike Huckabee, the United States ambassador to Israel, saying that his reading of the Bible is that Israel controls all of the Middle East and it's a God-given right to control all of the Middle East, that if Israel and the United States install a proxy government in Iran, let's say we achieve it in 3 days, You think that there's not going to be a backlash to that there? You think everyone's going to be like, all right, we've got Netanyahu and Trump's guy here. Build that U.S. embassy in Iran. Let's do it. And by the way, if you thought that, don't you think you should be explaining the mission to the American people? Don't you think we should know what the hell you're doing? No, because it's the Jeffrey Epstein war. It's the Ghislaine Maxwell war. It's the Howard Lutnick on Epstein Island with his 216s. I got 216s. I got 213s. I got 212s. I got my buddy's children, bringing them to Pedo Island. That's what this war is about. It's the Donald Trump destroyed our economy war. It's the Donald Trump promised he'd end the war in Ukraine, the Russia invasion in 24 hours, and didn't do that. It's the Donald Trump promise that he would bring down prices on day one and didn't do it war. It's, oh shit, war. Now I screwed up everything in the United States. I broke the United States. In 14 months, you broke the United States of America. And now you launch the Jeffrey Epstein war against Iran. Right? We all know what was being uncovered in those files. We all knew the walls were closing in and are closing in. This is what they do. This is what they do. What's that meme from Shrek? Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. That was like Donald Trump's speech. He literally did the Shrek Prince speech. Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Red alerts from Israel's home front command have now been focused on Israel's northern areas. We can see right here, if we could pull that up on the map, Jeremy, just so people can see what it looks like. Let's take a look right here. I'm looking at this. An Iranian app for tracking Muslim prayer times has been hacked. Messages are encouraging armed forces to defect and protect your compatriots. They will protect you in return. Another message says, help has arrived. This is the time for reckoning. Let's take a look right here. Do we have the video from northern Israel showing what appears to be the Israeli air defense working to intercept incoming Iranian missiles? Do we have that? The Israel air defense right there. I think you can see some of it right there as well. Let's take a look. What else we got? Video. That's the video from northern Israel showing what appears to be Israeli air defense. Let's take a look what else we got going on here. Pull it up, pull it up. Yeah, we just have those red alerts right now. And as of now, it doesn't seem like there was any strikes yet, direct strikes. But we will keep you posted. Speaking of the Jeffrey Epstein war, do we have, Jeremy, that clip of Congressmember Garcia from earlier today describing what took place or what he was saying after that deposition of Bill Clinton? Let's play that clip because this is what this is all about. Let's play it.
Republicans have now set a new precedent, which is to bring in presidents and former presidents to testify. So we're once again going to make that call that we did yesterday. We are now asking and demanding that President Trump officially come in and testify in front of the Oversight Committee. He appears in the Epstein files next to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell almost more than anybody else. So it's time for the president to answer questions about why files are missing from the DOJ, why there's been a White House cover-up, and why we continue in that administration to call this investigation a hoax. And finally, I'll review the call that we made yesterday that we are demanding, again, that the press and the public be allowed inside the depositions so that you can hear the answers and the questions directly. And if that's not going to happen, they need to release a full, unedited review of the questions and video within 24 hours of the end of these depositions. That means that the Secretary Clinton deposition needs to be released immediately today.
Yeah, but it wasn't released immediately today, right? I mean, instead, frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they held those depositions from being released, hoping that nobody will actually watch them once a war begins. That wouldn't shock me if Trump was like to Comer, give me until the weekend, Comer, then you can release that. Because remember what Bill Clinton said at the deposition? He said that Donald Trump was talking about his relationship with Epstein and said the reason that his relationship with Epstein fell apart was over a real estate transaction, not over girls and sex trafficking or anything like that. And so Clinton confirmed what we've been reporting on the Meidastouch network now for 5 years, which was that real estate transaction where that guy Abe Gossman sold his went bankrupt, had a foreclosure sale, was going to sell it to Epstein. Epstein told Trump about it in 2004 because he asked Trump's advice on where to put a swimming pool. And then Trump undercut Epstein in the foreclosure sale, bought it, sold it to a Russian oligarch 4 years later for $95 million, purchased it for $41 million. When that sale happened in 2008, Epstein thought that there was some shenanigans taking place between Trump and Dmitry Rybalov, the Russian oligarch, and was the oligarch actually involved in helping Trump purchase it in 2004 to onshore money into the United States, and that was part of a broader scheme between Trump and the Russians. Then after Epstein was arrested, then Donald Trump tried to keep Epstein away by cooperating against Epstein, and then saying, oh, we all knew Epstein was a bad guy after Epstein was arrested because Epstein potentially knew about Trump and Rybalov and that deal with Abe Gossman's house. So that came out in the Clinton deposition today. I'm going to do videos on it in the morning, or I guess it is the morning right now. I actually made a lot of morning videos that I'm going to have to like redo now because it makes no sense that I talked about we're likely going to war when we're at war. If I show those videos in the morning, don't hold it against me if I mention, because I'm not really sure how I'm going to have the time to do more videos. But anyway, give you more breaking news of what's going on right now. This was reported a little bit ago. More explosions being heard in northern Israel as the country works to intercept incoming Iranian missiles after launching a nationwide attack with the U.S. on Iran. The U.S. is now planning for several days of attack, sources say. President Donald Trump, in a video released shortly after the strike, said the U.S. forces were undertaking a massive and ongoing operation, describing attacks targeting Iran's military. Iran state television announced that Iran's armed forces were getting ready to retaliate against Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu issued a statement moments ago. I will read it for the sake of its newsworthy value. My brothers and sisters, citizens of Israel, a short while ago, Israel and the United States launched an operation to remove the existential threat posed by the terrorist regime in Iran. I thank our great friend, President Donald Trump, for his historic leadership. For 47 years, the Ayatollah regime has called death to Israel, death to America. It has shed our blood, murdered many Americans, and slaughtered its own people. This murderous terrorist regime must not be allowed to arm itself with nuclear weapons that would enable it to threaten all of humanity. Our joint action will create the conditions for the brave Iranian people to take their destiny into their own hands. The time has come for all parts of the people of Iran, Persians, Kurds, Azerbaijanis, Balak, Awazi, to cast off the yoke of tyranny and bring about a free and peace-seeking Iran. I call on you, citizens of Israel, to follow the instructions of the Homefront Command in the coming days. During Operation Roaring Lion, we will all be required to show patience and inner strength. Together we will stand, together we will fight, and together we will ensure eternity of Israel. Additional explosions were then heard in Tehran, per sources. The Department of Defense now has a different name for it in the United States. So it's Operation Roaring Lion is what Israel's calling it. Now the Department of Defense, which refers to itself unlawfully as the Department of War. You ready for this one? What would your guess be if you had the thought process of a toddler and you went to war in an unlawful means? What do you think that, just put in the chat what you do, don't look and don't cheat. But what do you think the U.S. is calling this operation? What's your guess of what the U.S. is calling the operation? We're calling it the Epstein War. That's not what the U.S. That's not what the Department of Defense is calling it. They're calling it Operation Epic Fury. Operation Epic Fury. Like, that's epic, man. That's epic fury, man. We're literally calling it Operation Epic Fury. Yeah, as my producers are saying, we are cooked. If that's Operation Epic Fury, I want to be very clear too, because I hold so many complex thoughts about this. My heart and my thoughts, although to even say that, my heart and my thoughts, I truly feel for the Iranian people right now, who have been living under this repressive regime for decades and decades and decades. The Ayatollah is repressive, terroristic, horrible, and I don't want any of my words in this video to be misconstrued in any way as even being slightly supportive of the Ayatollah or this tyrannical and horrible regime, right? We, this community, can hold, as I mentioned before, complex thoughts. We can both condemn a regime, condemn the repression, support the people of Iran. I think we also recognize that we have a repressive regime in the United States, in the Trump regime, that's killing people in this country. Massed ICE, Border Patrol, SS, Gestapo over here, torturing, killing people. You learn about these tragic murders here each and every day. The guy, the Burmese refugee in Buffalo, who was murdered by being frozen to death in Buffalo by Border Patrol, Gestapo, who lied and said they let him into a restaurant where it was warm, and then we have the footage and it was not true. Or Alex Pretty and Renee Good and the 40 people who died in detention centers last year in our concentration camps in the United States, 10 people who died in concentration camps this year. War is a very serious thing. When the United States commits our troops and our soldiers to war, seeing the president wear a cap, calling it epic fury, man, epic fury, not getting congressional authorization, not explaining to people in the lead up to war why. I don't even understand what the mission is. Is the mission, reading Netanyahu's statement or Trump's statement, I don't understand. Do you understand the mission? The mission is what? Total regime. I mean, that's the mission. The mission is total regime change. Okay, so that's what it always was. It was actually never about nuclear enrichment, right? That's never what it was about. It was about regime change. Okay, well, if it's about regime change, we are adults. Tell us that. We elect members of Congress, people in the House, people in the Senate. Let our voices be heard, and let the American people say if we think regime change in Iran is in our national security interests. Because it's not about the nuclear enrichment, right? They're well past that. And in fact, the foreign minister of Oman seemed to suggest an outcome. Now, whether or not we believe Iran's another story, but seemed to suggest an outcome to ensure that the uranium would not be enriched, that it would all be handed over to an independent body. It would be neutralized. And at least from the perspective of nuclear weapons, there wouldn't be an imminent nuclear threat. But that's not what the United States wanted. The United States wanted regime change. And then the question ultimately is, though, Operation Epic Fury, stupidest thing I've ever heard. Stupidest thing ever. I mean, Operation Epic Fury. That's where we're going with. And ultimately, if there is to be regime change, 30,000 Iranians have already been killed in January when Trump said, go out there and protest. We've got your back. Okay, well, if you're in Iran right now, do you go out again after he said go out last time and 30,000 got killed? Do you trust him this time? That's a question. And let's say we're successful, as I said before. Assume everything goes like perfect. And in the next 10 days, there's regime change. Well, that regime, the new regime, would be sympathetic, logically, to Netanyahu and Trump, right? Objectively, the person who would be picked to run the country would be sympathetic to Trump and Netanyahu. So the question is, do you believe that in that region, they would accept a leader who is a proxy of Trump and Netanyahu? If you think the answer is yes, okay, I'm not, then that's your argument. If you think the answer is no, that's how you feel. But shouldn't we be discussing this before all of this is going down? Or shouldn't that be part of the discourse that's taking place? So you have Operation Lion's Roar is what they're calling it in Israel. Operation Epic Fury is what they're calling it in the United States. Hand in hand, U.S. and Israel seeking regime change in Iran. The United States and Israel has hacked into Iranian social media and prayer apps, Telegram, telling people, go out, reclaim it. You got it. Take to the streets. You got it. After saying that last month and 30,000 Iranians getting killed, we'll see what happens there. Sirens are now sounding over Tel Aviv. Keep you posted there, but sirens over Tel Aviv right now. I'm taking a look at some footage of some of the strikes on Tehran, Iran, that I'm pulling up right here. But we're waiting to see what the retaliation is going to look like. And by all accounts, this is going to be a war that lasts a significant period of time. But here we are. Feels a little bit like deja vu when we reported on America invading Venezuela, right, last month, and America attacking Iran several months before that. But I'm calling it the Jeffrey Epstein war, not Epic Fury, not Lion's Roar. Until we are given a competent, intelligent explanation, I'm calling it the Jeffrey Epstein war. Do we have the Tehran footage? Let's pull it up right there. Yeah, we're hearing do we have, Jeremy, pull that clip of when Trump said our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. I want to get that clip. Pull that one for everybody. Explosions being heard in northern Israel as the country works to intercept incoming Iranian missiles after launching a nationwide attack with U.S. on Iran. No confirmation yet that any of these missiles actually have hit yet. I'm trying to see right now in Tel Aviv if there's been anything there. I'm looking right now at the scenes in Tel Aviv. Okay, I want confirmation of this. If Tel Aviv has been hit, we know the sirens are sounding right now. I'm seeing some. Again, I want to make sure I confirm before I ever show anything. Before I show anything, but there may be some impacts. We'll take a look at that. Let me know, Jeremy, as soon as we got the Trump clip, you could just.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Epstein fury. That's what people are calling it now. They're calling it not just the Epstein war, they're calling it Epstein's fury. Is that the name that we're all agreeing to call it? Or Operation Preemptive Idiocy? Operation Epstein fury, I think, is the or just the Jeffrey Epstein war is a bit some, but in all seriousness, this is deeply serious. This is sad stuff. Do we have the sirens clip? Is that play or is that B-roll? If we got that. Play the one of Trump saying total obliteration. We got it.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
I guess they weren't completely and totally obliterated, or I guess it's Operation Epstein Fury. I'm trying to track down right now. If you want to know what I'm looking at, I'm trying to track down what it's looking like in Tel Aviv right now. And I'm trying to see if, there's so much data that we ingest in real time that I'm trying to see if there was any impacts in Tel Aviv, because we're seeing some smoke in the area, but I want to be able to, to report it once we see that. But we do see some smoke rising over Tel Aviv following the launch of Iranian missiles, although no confirmed impacts have been reported so far. And that may be because of the successful air defense interceptions, an unrelated incident. But we will be keeping you posted every step of the way there. Let's just go back, Jeremy, recap a little bit while we try to let's I want to pull this specific clip, Jeremy. I'm going to send it to you, where Donald Trump says the lives of American heroes may be lost and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. That's his message. Here, I'm going to send this to you, Jeremy. Send this to you now. Boom, sent it to you. Okay, let's just to recap. We're an hour and 53 minutes into this stream. About 2 hours ago or so, we started to get word about military strikes in Iran. First, we thought it was just Israel. It was Israel and the United States. They were calling it Operation Hand in Hand in first, then Operation Lion's Roar. But Israel was calling it. We've since learned the United States is calling it Operation Epic Fury. We're calling it here Operation Epstein Fury, or the Jeffrey Epstein War. It's, I think, what we've all agreed to refer to it as. We've seen these strikes in Tehran, and for Brett and all our producers, just make sure, as you can tell, I'm a little bit tired right now. Make sure we write down before I forget Operation Epstein Fury, or the Jeffrey Epstein War, because that's how I think it should be referred to. It should be referred to as, because that's what this is really about. We learned about these strikes on Iran. Israel then confirmed joint U.S.-Israel operations. As we know, we have the 2 aircraft carriers, the Gerald Ford and Abraham Lincoln, are in the region. You can see right there where they are positioned. Those are the 2 big aircraft carriers, hundreds of planes in the area. Israel described what was taking place as a decapitation exercise. We don't know who's been decapitated or who's been killed. You'll remember back in June, they called it Operation Midnight Hammer. Trump said things were that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was totally obliterated. Obviously, Trump was lying because he lies about everything, or maybe he wasn't lying and he just wants regime change. We saw the images of where this first and second wave of Israeli and U.S. strikes is taking place. Reuters confirmed that the Ayatollah was moved to a secure location. The Iranian regime then put out that it would be retaliating against the United States and Israel. It's launched ballistic missiles at Tel Aviv and at other areas. So far, it seems Israel's defense system and Iron Dome system has been effective by and large in stopping the retaliation, although it seems to be just getting started. In the meantime, there seems to be a lot of hacking taking place by the U.S. and Israel of, or messages on the Telegram, where Iranians have access to their Telegram channels. And then there seems to be some hacking taking place inside Iranian prayer websites and prayer apps of the Mossad telling Iranians, now's the time, take back your country, go for it, time is yours, don't squander this opportunity. Donald Trump gave this bizarre 8-minute speech wearing a hat where he was sweaty, and he said basically, people may die, but that happens in a war. So, our troops may die. And if our soldiers die, that's what goes down in war. Here's what Donald Trump said. I think we've got that portion of it.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
And in the meantime, we're getting word that the Houthi military leadership right around Yemen, they are saying that we will be intervening on behalf of Iran. The battlefield will speak in the coming hours. And the Houthis will resume attacks on shipping in the Red Sea corridor. It'll be interesting to see now what happens, in the Strait of Hormuz and in that area, and ultimately what that's going to, what that retaliation could look like. Because really, the last time the U.S. engaged in operation, in the prior operation, the Strait of Hormuz was not ended up being closed down. But right now, it's possible. I'm just trying to look right now at the shipping through the Strait of Hormuz as of right now. Seems to be going normally. No changes, Antonia Costa writes. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if oil, right now, everything's normal, everything's under control as of this moment, which is a little bit concerning, though, that there still appear to be ships in this area right now in the Strait of Hormuz, because I'm not sure if they were tipped off, and now the Houthis are saying they will be attacking. Let's just trying to take a look at some other. Let's see. The U.S.-Iran war has officially started. The Strait of Hormuz. I'm reading from a guy named Stern Drew right now. let's break down. Iran sits at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway where roughly 20% of the world's oil supply passes every single day. If that route is disrupted even partially, oil doesn't just rise, it can spike violently. What if oil spikes, inflation surges again, central banks can't cut rates, interest rates stay high, markets panic. And again, to think about our economy right now, I think my number one thought is our troops, the people of Iran, the people, innocent people in the region who are in lockdown right now. Anybody in the Middle East region who's now subject to, the fact that you have people like, Trump and Netanyahu and the Ayatollah, right? I mean, I think that if you spoke to most people, we want to get along with each other, and we don't want wars, and we want to live in peace and love. And you have these, individuals, these psychotic individuals, who take over countries, who, make it miserable for us when we just want to, as I always say, I think you put people together, naturally, our instincts would be to love and empathy and hanging out and doing all of that. But then you put people like Trump and Netanyahu and the Ayatollah and these types of people, and again, it's the name of the game is just, is just misery. But my eyes right now are focused on the Strait of Hormuz. Let's say, the UK Navy is now announcing that there is significant. We knew this was going to heat up. We knew this was going to happen. UK Navy saying significant military activity at the Strait of Hormuz, as predicted. I before even seeing this breaking news story, I was saying focus on the Strait of Hormuz right now, because the ultimate trump card, if you will, that Iran has, and leaning on the Houthis as well, is you shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and the American people here will feel it instantaneously. We will feel it instantaneously here. And so as this coverage develops, focus on the Strait of Hormuz. Let's focus on what Iran's retaliation is going to look like. I mean, the Iron Dome system in Israel is so sophisticated that if you're Iran, do you bother shooting ballistic missiles that way? Or do you try to go Strait of Hormuz? Remember, Iran was running military games and military drills. Remember, we reported on this on the Meidastouch network. We were talking about 2 weeks ago. Remember who was in Iran? You had Russia, China, Iran engaged in military games in the Strait of Hormuz, practicing for this. I wouldn't be shocked if, in order to, without a trace, but in order to test its own capabilities, China was able to deliver some capabilities to Iran, if you know what I mean. Or if Russia was, well, remember, Russia gets its drones to attack Ukraine from Iran. The Shahed drones go there. So I wouldn't be shocked if there were some of those, missiles to potentially now attack American ships, trading ships in the Strait of Hormuz. That's where I'm very concerned about right now. And I don't know if there was any, even warnings to these ships that it was going to happen today. Because remember, the peace talks were supposed to continue on Monday. And not a lot of people actually thought the strikes were going to happen today. Because according to the Oman foreign minister, there were productive conversations today. All right, here's a quick rundown of the past couple of hours of what we know so far. Joint U.S.-Israeli operation. Trump is calling for regime change, but that's our mission, regime change, not stop the nuclear weapons, actual regime change in Iran. That's not an easy thing. Remember regime change in Iraq? How'd that go? Opening waves of strike have been characterized as assassination strikes, confirming early reports of decapitation strikes. Officials have said that this will be a multi-day campaign. Israel will focus on military targets launchers, while the U.S. remit is to target decision makers, large surface combatants, hardened bunkers. 30 to 7 ballistic missiles fired from Iran into Israel. Air defense is working now at the time of this writing. No confirmed deaths or casualties among principal or senior Iranian decision makers at the time of this writing, but unconfirmed reports on the deaths of senior military decision makers have trickled in. Reports from state media and Western media outlets citing sources close to the matter say that both the Iranian president and supreme leader remain alive and well. So if that's what's happened thus far, doesn't exactly seem that that was any significant military objectives that have been achieved. You didn't take out any of the senior military leadership as of now. Now you have left the Strait of Hormuz vulnerable. You've left our ships vulnerable. The Houthis said that they're going to be joining the fight, and they will be attacking boats and shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz. We're now hearing that explosions can now be heard. This is breaking news. Explosions can now be heard and seen in Bahrain. In Bahrain right now, folks. I got to get more information about this, but explosions in Bahrain. Reports of sirens, shelter-in-place alerts, and alerts imminent. Missile attacks now in the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Qatar. Moments ago, this is spreading, folks, as we expected that it would. And it seems what's happening right now early on is Iran turning to the other countries and not necessarily even just Israel, knowing that Israel was ready for it. And they seem to now be going for these other countries. So we've got now attacks on Bahrain, UAE's being prepared, Qatar's getting ready. And it looks like this is very quickly spreading to other areas in the Middle East, folks. Exactly what we were worried about, exactly what our military generals were worried about. This appears to be spreading very, very quickly. Just getting you the updates as they come in. Explosions in Bahrain right now happening. And very much, yeah. Now we're learning in Qatar had to down an Iranian missile, but several explosions heard in Bahrain, and they weren't able to stop some of those missiles there. So it does appear right now that part of the Iranian response was going to be to strike nearby countries. And again, we'll keep you posted there. And perhaps Iran learned the lesson from the last round of this, which was, Israel's got its Iron Dome, but focus on other assets in the Middle East, cause mass chaos and confusion there, go for the Strait of Hormuz, and ultimately, I think a big concern, not just in the Strait of Hormuz that I'm worried about. I'm worried about the protection of the United States aircraft carriers. Again, we have the Gerald Ford and we have the Abraham Lincoln kind of on opposite sides of Iran. And normally the U.S. would lean on our allies, whether it's the UK, whether it's European Union, Australia, others in the region, to help us. I just don't think that same level of support is going to be there. But remember, Bahrain has a U.S. Navy. Like, why Bahrain? Why Qatar? U.S. Navy bases, U.S. military bases, right? Military base in Qatar. Bahrain has a U.S. Navy base. And one of the big fears here also is the civil unrest that this would cause in other Middle East countries. Like to me, the delusional aspect of this is that Donald Trump and Netanyahu think that they will be viewed, the Netanyahu and Trump will be viewed as conquering heroes in these areas. Like they're getting high on their own supply. They're not, they are detested and despised in these areas. No one, they think that they're going to install a proxy there. They think they're going to, UAE partially closing its airspace right now. Folks, this is spreading. This is spreading. I'm going to continue just to, I want to make sure that we give you all the up-to-date information right now, but that's some of the latest going on right there. I want to try to pull up this Bahrain strike and see if we're getting more information and intelligence of what's happening in Bahrain right now. Yeah, Iran just attacked the U.S. Navy's naval support activity in Bahrain with explosions and large smoke plumes reported within the Mina Salman port. These strikes were right by the U.S. military base in Bahrain. Wow. I'm gonna send this to you, Jeremy, and it's very possible that Iran just hit the U.S. Navy's naval support activity in Bahrain, folks, as we are reporting on this. Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up, Jeremy, if we got that to show everybody. Yeah, this is quickly spiraling out of control, folks. This could be one of the worst case scenarios. That's Bahrain. That's the U.S. naval base right there. Russia's Medvedev says the peacemaker, they're mocking Donald Trump in Russia right now. The peacemaker has once again shown his true face. I mean, this is, on the one hand, I am happy I'm sharing this moment with all of you because I'm not sure I'd want to do this alone, to be totally honest with you. But it's incredibly embarrassing to be an American right now as I report on this. It is truly humiliating to be an American right now with what our government is doing in our name, what this Trump regime is doing with Operation Epstein Fury, the Jeffrey Epstein war. Is horrible. And I pray that whoever's in that base in Bahrain is okay, but our naval base in Bahrain or right nearby Bahrain appears to be hit. And Iran seems to have adapted its tactics from Midnight Hammer and said, okay, we see where your vulnerabilities are. We're going to hit you in those vulnerabilities. And they seem to be executing a methodical plan. The Russians and the Chinese were there with them 2 weeks ago, I think, to go over this exact scenario, and they were ready for it. They were ready for it. I'm continuing to monitor what's happening. Now Iran's launching more missiles at Israel. Keep you posted as we learn more right here. Take a look at U.S. bases in Qatar and Bahrain are currently under attack. Remember, U.S. has that base in Qatar, has that base in Bahrain, both under attack as we speak. I want to be able to report on more as we get more information. More information coming in. Let's pull up some of the images, if we can, Jeremy. I'm just going to go and start pulling up some of these images from Bahrain as well. Reports of sirens, shelter in place, and alerts of imminent missile attacks. Again, in the UAE, in Bahrain, in Qatar, in all of those areas. And they're specifically targeting American assets there, American military assets there. Show the videos, Jeremy, of earlier today, if you will, of just what Tehran looked like. I want to show that. Yeah, Qatar's defense ministry is saying that the Iranian missile was intercepted by Patriot defense systems there. But I don't think it was able to be intercepted in Bahrain. But multiple new waves of ballistic missiles are heading towards Israel, targeting major population centers, although the air defenses have intercepted most. And there are reports so far of no confirmed impacts, no injuries so far there in Israel. The Ministry of the Interior in Bahrain, the siren has been sounded. Citizens and residents are urged to remain calm and head to the nearest safe place. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard has announced the following. In response to the attack by the criminal and hostile enemy against the Islamic Republic of Iran, the first wave of missiles and drones of the Islamic Republic toward the occupied territories has begun. Apparently, New York Times is reporting a central goal of the first joint wave of strikes in Iran was to hit as many leaders as possible. 3 Israeli security officials say, but at least from what we're hearing right now, they didn't really get any of the most senior people. And now Iran's retaliating. Israel and the USA prepare for several days of war. Iranian state news outlet reports that retaliation has begun, which they are now calling True Promise 4. Let's see, I think we have the moment that Iran targeted this U.S. base with missile attacks. Let me pull this up. Wow. I'm going to send this to you, Jeremy. Let's pull this open. This hit definitely, whatever this is, definitely struck Bahrain in a very significant way. I'm going to send this to you. Yeah. I'm sending this to you. Yeah, if you're running out of space, Jeremy, you can just delete. Things are moving very quickly right now, folks. It's now being reported that there are loud bangs and potentially explosions being heard in Abu Dhabi. So Abu Dhabi, obviously the capital of the United Arab Emirates, explosions in Bahrain, a massive smoke plume in Bahrain. Now, now Israel's reporting Israel has a right to defend itself. I guess this was the plan, right? Like, preemptive strike, Iran retaliates, we have to defend ourselves. And then here we are. Iran has simultaneously fired ballistic missiles to Israel, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. And at least in Bahrain, we're gonna focus on UAE. There's loud bangs there in UAE, in Abu Dhabi, capital of the UAE. We'll see. Over in Bahrain, we see smoke rising from Bahrain's Jufair area, which houses the U.S. Navy base. Jufair, a district in Manama, Bahrain, hosts the Naval Support Activity Bahrain. That's the main U.S. naval base in the Persian Gulf. It is home to U.S. Naval Forces Central Command and the U.S. Fifth Fleet, serving as key logistics and operations hub for U.S. and coalition naval missions across the Gulf, Red Sea, and Arabian Sea. The base supports warships with maintenance, berthing, and supply service, and has played a central role in major U.S. military operations in the region. And it looks like that's one of the areas that's now been hit by Iran. Let me know, Jeremy, when we got the video that I just sent you that I could play for everybody. Let's play it.
Missile threat warning. Declarted shelter immediately. Shelter in place. Missile threat warning. Declarted shelter immediately. Shelter in place.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get more information on that. We need to get more information on that. Let's take a look at. Are there reports as well of Kuwait? Let's take a look. Let's see. Yep. It appears that Kuwait is under attack as well. Iran seemed to have been reports that Iranian ballistic missiles are now targeting the Ali al-Salam air base in Kuwait and the Kuwaiti National Security Agency. Wow. So in a very short period of time, folks, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Israel, Bahrain, under attack right now. Looks like Iranian ballistic missiles now being intercepted over Abu Dhabi. Explosions now being reported in Kuwait. Air raid sirens are wailing over the U.S. base at the Al Udeid base in Qatar. But it certainly seems that, again, Iran was ready for its retaliation campaign. Let's pull it up. Israel, Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, all under missile attack right now, specifically at the U.S. Air Force bases over there. We're going to keep you apprised again, but this is now exactly what I think what our admirals and generals and command leaders were warning Donald Trump against. This is what we were talking about on the Meidastouch network. That the chance of a massive conflagration in the Middle East was significant. And the view that Iran was just going to surrender was infantile and naive and concocted by the same people who would call this military invasion by the U.S. Operation Epic Fury. And Donald Trump's message to the American people is, it's a war and people die, so get used to it, basically. And that's very similar to what Putin says about his people who are put through the meat grinders as well. Yeah, show the Trump clip of him saying that moments ago. Let's play it.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
Yeah, I mean, play it one more time. I just want to hear it one more time. I'm sorry, I know we don't want to hear his voice, but I thought I heard something. Play it one more time, Jeremy.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
Yeah, I wanted to go back because I thought I heard him say, and I did hear him say, as this happens in war, admitting that we are in a war right now, an unauthorized war, and that requires congressional authorization. But America's at war, and it's not going very well right now. Iran threatened that any U.S. attack would be met with attacks on American bases and interests across the region, with the goal of killing hundreds of American soldiers. Drop sites reporting that. You were talking about that before. And Iran is trying to carry out its plan to do such a thing. We know that there was that horrible explosion just now in Bahrain at the U.S. naval base there. It's unclear at this time if any of our members of our armed services were killed. I don't know at this point. I can show you a video of what it looked like in the area, right by where our naval base is.
Missile threat warning. Using carbon shelter immediately. Shelter in place. Missile threat warning. Using carbon shelter immediately. Shelter in place.
That didn't look good. That looks horrific. Again, I don't know who's in that region, who's in that area. But I suspect if there are people in there or nearby, that's not a good thing. Let's leave it at that. So Iran has launched attacks all across the Middle East right now at U.S. bases. In Bahrain, in Kuwait, in Abu Dhabi, in Qatar, in Israel. The Houthis say they're going right now to join Iran in attacking in the Strait of Hormuz. Houthis will resume attacks on shipping in the Red Sea corridor as well. That's where we're at right now. I'm trying to gather more information as well. In Kuwait, it had targeted the Al Salim air base as well. Renewed alerts in the Jerusalem region, explosion sounds overhead. Israel has now mobilized an additional 70,000 reservists for war against Iran. It looks like a ground war will soon be taking place as well. 70,000 reservists for war against Iran have now been called up in Israel. Folks, this looks like a full-fledged war in the Middle East is developing across all of the countries in the area. Exactly, again, one of the big fears of what this could happen, of what could develop is happening right now as we are watching this and experiencing this together live right now. It's happening right in front of our eyes. And by the way, for all the people who are saying draft Barron, yeah, draft Barron. For all of the people who are saying this is the Operation Epstein Fury, not Epic Fury, Epstein Fury, or the Jeffrey Epstein War, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. And these images that we're seeing across the Middle East right now, it is, where we have to start processing the casualties and what's happening. But Iran's been hitting a lot of these bases, a lot of these areas now, as it said it would do if there was a strike. And now Israel's saying we have to protect ourselves, or Israel must defend itself right now. Israel has the right to defend itself. It's like, There were negotiation. This is what it looks like over Iraq right now. I should have mentioned that too. Iraq's not under attack right now, but there are ballistic missiles. Yeah, there are some people on the chat reporting that Yemen has begun attacks. I mean, the Houthis. Let's try to zoom in. I mean, there's so much happening all at once right now. It's saying, though, that a militia in Yemen announcing resumption of attacks in the Red Seas. Unconfirmed. Wow. Unconfirmed reports of explosions in Saudi Arabia and Jordan right now, and Kuwait. The Middle East is on fire. The Middle East is on fire. What has Donald Trump done? What have these people done to our world? I feel like we're all going through a very different dynamic than as bad as things were 3 hours ago for the country and for the world. In the past 3 hours, something dramatic has just happened. And the world will never be the same. And we were already being dragged into that before this happened. The Middle East is on fire. Explosions everywhere. This is what nightmare scenarios are made of. It's happening right now. Explosions potentially being heard in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Yemen, attacking boats, the Red Sea area, Strait of Hormuz potentially being shut down. Iran has called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. And as we're all waking up to this, or staying awake through this, this is a very different world than even 3 hours ago. The U.S. Fifth Fleet Support Center was targeted in the Iranian strike in Bahrain. Additionally, we're now seeing reports in multiple other U.S. partner nations, Kuwait, Jordan, UAE, unconfirmed reports, Saudi Arabia. Talked about Bahrain already. U.S. jets are now taking off from Tel Aviv. Jeremy, what were we looking at right there? What was that? Give me a... We have U.S. jets taking off from Tel Aviv as well. Yeah, that was a refueler tank leaving Ben Gurion Airport. Let's take a look at, yeah, we knew it. Houthis have announced a total closure, or that they wanted to have a total closure and try to shut down all the shipping routes in the Red Sea right now. They said they are resuming their attacks. I mean, this is a massive, massive debacle. And here's what Iran's foreign ministry said. The renewed military aggression by the United States comes while Iran and the U.S. were in the midst of a diplomatic process. And again, as I said before to all of you watching this, I'm not condoning the Ayatollah. I think the Ayatollah is a terroristic, repressive, horrific regime, and my heart's with the people of Iran, especially the people who were out protesting when Donald Trump said go out there, who were massacred by the Ayatollah regime. I think, though, as adults, we can hold complex thoughts, as I talked about before. And it is a fact that, at least I think we were all led to believe, that the issue was not regime change. I don't know what the issue, but the issue was enrichment, stopping nuclear enrichment. And there were, Donald Trump said back last June, it was totally obliterated. Iran was never capable of enriching any nuclear material forever. Like Donald Trump declared total victory last June. He's obliterated. Those were the headlines, obliterated, okay, which was total bullshit, whatever. Now, there was a negotiated discussion. There was a diplomatic process taking place. The foreign minister of Oman was the mediator and was negotiating a deal. I don't want to show the video again, Jeremy, but do we have the message about the Oman mediator and the foreign minister? Well, anyway, he said that it was productive discussions. Here's where we left off the day, just so everybody knows. Speaking earlier today on CBS News Face the Nation, the Omani foreign minister, Badr al-Busadi, who met Friday with Vice President J.D. Vance and other senior officials in Washington, said that recent talks are approaching an agreement which would see Iran give up all of its highly enriched uranium, while the remainder is developed under international oversight into fuel for nuclear power plants. I think that there is agreement now that this will be down blended to the lowest level possible, to a neutral level, a natural level, and converted into fuel, and that fuel will be irreversible, Badr told CBS, with technical talks regarding this agreement to begin on Monday. So by all accounts, on Monday, there was going to be additional discussions for a possible deal. Again, I make no qualms about my condemnation for the Ayatollah. I call him out. It's a despicable regime. Trump is a despicable regime. Let's be clear also. Trump is a despicable regime. And let's be clear, Netanyahu is running a despicable regime too. People want to we want to live in love with our fellow people of the world. I don't care what ethnicity you are, what religion you are, whether you're gay or straight or trans. People want to live with each other and be happy with each other. But when you have people also like Trump's and Netanyahu's and Ayatollahs, they divide us. They try to pit us against each other. They try to project their miserable dystopian vision and power and control to harm our ability to love and to go about our life and to live in peace and harmony. It's people like that. But in any event, there was a process taking place, and there was a neutral foreign minister of Oman trying to work out a deal, and they were supposed to meet again on Monday. And then Trump and Netanyahu use the fact that people were waiting for Monday to do like a sneak attack on Friday, when Monday was supposed to be a resumption of negotiations. That stuff that Donald Trump did, his whole, like that's who he was before all this stuff. I mean, his whole life he would pull shit like that too. And I bet you Iran knows that about him also. You know, and they knew that was going to happen. So I'm sure they were prepared for it, right? You know, I'm sure they were prepared for it. Yeah, and people are pointing out too, you know, which excuse my naivety for not bringing it up, but this is why I read your comments as well. Also, it's during Ramadan as well. And I think that's an important point to peace negotiations during Ramadan. It's supposed to go Monday. All right, let me find. A lot of people in the chat are telling me to go to sleep. a lot of you are encouraging me to go to sleep, but let me give you a few more data points. Can I give you a few more data points? Okay, some of it, there's some differing views right now of whether I should go to sleep or not go to sleep. But let me just find a little bit. Let me find a little bit more information. Make sure we're fully kept up to speed, and then we'll go from there. Okay. I want to get more information right now. So, UK military advising, beware of significant military action in the Arabian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, North Arabian Sea, Strait of Hormuz. Warning ships in that area, be very careful, because now they didn't expect this to happen. And now lots of countries that have their ships and their flagships sailing there are very, very, very vulnerable. So you've got a lot of countries trying to make sure their ships can get out of those areas that can now potentially be under attack by the Houthis, by Iran. We are now hearing more explosions in Doha, Qatar, according to Reuters 3 minutes ago. More explosions in Doha, Qatar. So far, right by that Al Udeid air base, they've been able to stop some of those missiles that Iran's been shooting in the way of Qatar. Unclear if this strike was able to actually hit. We know that Iranian missiles pummeled Bahrain. This is very concerning because the U.S. Navy is in Bahrain and the area that Iran struck. I mean, it would be concerning if the Navy wasn't there. Let me be clear. Humanity is humanity, okay? I also, as an American, will share a little bias, even if we have a horrific individual regime running this. I still want to I always first and foremost am praying for our troops and have them on my mind at all times. You know, and it's hard for me to put myself even in their shoes when they're getting unlawful orders and what to do. In any event, we are monitoring what happened in Bahrain. You have explosions being heard in Kuwait. IDF calling up 70,000 reservists. Explosions heard in UAE's capital, Abu Dhabi. And so really attacks across the entire Middle East right now, right? Arabian Sea, Strait of Hormuz, Red Sea area. Israel under attack. Iran being attacked by Israel and the U.S. Bahrain, looks like there were some strikes that hit near the naval base. Kuwait, it looks like there were some strikes. Ballistic missiles flying over Iraq. Jordan, I think I mentioned United Arab Emirates, Qatar, all at once. We're showing people the images right now of these ballistic missiles over Iraq. Well, we've got new footage that I want to show of what it looked like when these Iranian missiles slammed into U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain. Oh my gosh. I'm going to show you this video, Jeremy.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, okay.
That's the exact one I was going to show you. Yeah, show it one more time.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay, okay.
Well, yeah, that's footage of the Iranian ballistic missile slamming into the headquarters of the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet at Naval Support Activity, Bahrain, earlier today. It's a direct hit. Unclear if there were casualties at this moment or what's going on there. Meanwhile, in Tehran as well, they already have heavy riot police deployment as the regime braces for potential mass protests there. So we're seeing in Iran now that in Kuwait, they've shut down its airspace, at least temporarily. You've got, well, I'll read for you John Fetterman's statement. Not that I want to, but John Fetterman, Operation Epic Fury, or as we now refer to it as, Operation Epstein Fury. That's what we call it, Operation Epstein Fury, or the Jeffrey Epstein War. I mean, John Fetterman, man, perhaps the biggest disappointment in ever. Trump has been willing to do what's right and necessary to produce real peace in the region. God bless the United States, our great military, and Israel. Really, Fetterman? You think that this is peace in the region? Like, do you think this is peace in the region? What's happening in Qatar right now? What's happening in the UAE? What's happening in Kuwait? What may be happening in Saudi Arabia? What's happening in Bahrain? What's happening in the Strait of Hormuz? Here's another angle of what's happening in Bahrain. This is what you wanted. This is the result. That's a U.S. naval base right there that got struck. That's what you wanted. That makes you feel strong. Like, what's wrong with these people? Seriously, what's wrong with these people? And y'all were the people telling us there was total obliteration back in June. Total and utter obliteration. Iran's never going to have it. Oh, what we just care about is stopping the nuclear enrichment. That's what we care about. Nuclear enrichment, stopping it. Okay, well, Iran says through the mediator it'll stop nuclear enrichment. Oh, no. We want regime change. Okay, look, if you want, here's my point, Fetterman. Idiot, Fetterman. Here's my point. If you want regime change, if that's the goal, regime change, sell it to the American people, explain to us why there should be regime change, Give us the risks. Give us what you consider the rewards of regime change, and explain to us why right now, when Americans are suffering, when people in your Commonwealth are suffering, when people can't afford things here and getting their health care ripped away, why trillions of our dollars are being spent on regime change. So that the outcome is that now the Middle East is on fire, that war has now spread to the entire Middle East, just as we warned was going to happen. You feel safer and stronger today? You realize it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get more dangerous. This is only the tip of the iceberg of what's happening right now. You realize that, right? Or do you not realize it? Do you live in such a perverted and demented MAGA world of Club Mar-a-Lago and this delusional cosplay, idiotic Epstein class world of yours that you don't even understand what actually happens in the freaking real world? Like, do any of you even know? You know, you treat this as though this is all one big game, and sometimes, frankly, experiencing it on the side that our audience experience it of being psychologically tortured by you assholes, makes it feel sometimes like we're in some psychotic simulation because of the torment that you inflict on people every single day with your sociopathic abilities somehow not to give a shit about the pain and suffering of people in this country throughout the world. But for real, have you no shame, all of you, you Epstein class losers who have started a Jeffrey Epstein war, who have started Operation Epstein Fury, that has now spread into this conflagration in the Middle East that has the potential to cause World War III before our very eyes as we're recording this right now, so that Donald Trump could cover up his perversions at Mar-a-Lago, which was a situs of sex trafficking of underage girls like Virginia Giuffre. Have all of you no shame? You don't, because you're the Epstein class. And I guess this is the encore of the Epstein class. The encore of the Epstein class is what? To rip to shreds the little bit of semblance of peace and harmony that we could all find a little bit here and there, despite the fact that you would terrorize and torment us all for decades, that we'd be able to find some semblance of order and hope that we could leave future generations with something better and the world slightly improved. That we thought that, you know what, while things are horrible, at least in a post-World War II world, we could maybe not have to worry about some of the things that our great-great-great-grandparents had to deal with, and we could still confront some of these serious ills and problems of the world, but perhaps we could pass on to future generations a slightly better place, a slightly safer place, a slightly more harmonious place. But none of you let that happen. Ripping up the world. Trump, the Epstein class, ripping up the world. We're getting more information right now. I want to confirm this right now. Let's check on what's going on in Saudi Arabia. Let's pull it up. Yeah, I want to see. I'm getting some reports right now that Saudi Arabia was hit, and perhaps some of the oil fields there. Because we know there were strikes in Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iraq, Kuwait. Let's see. Airstrikes targeting Saudi Prince Sultan base right now, with explosions being heard in Riyadh. Yep. Loud explosions are now being heard in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Things are deteriorating very fast, folks. Iran fired ballistic missiles on all Gulf countries except Oman. And why Oman, you all know now, because the foreign minister of Oman was the mediator of this dispute. Loud explosions are currently being heard in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And what's going to have to happen, folks, is all these nations are going to start to go to war with each other. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen in the next few hours, in the next few days? What the hell has Donald Trump and these deranged individuals done? What have they unleashed in our world? They hit Saudi Arabia. Loud explosions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, folks. The entire world is going to war. February 28th, 2026. The entire world is going to war. It's happening right now. It's not hyperbole. It's happening right now. Live. Someone said, Ben, why aren't you saying it's illegal? I think it's because you're 2 hours and 56 minutes into the live. I've been saying, go rewind it. I'm not going to say every word every time. I think I've made it clear that it is illegal. You know, I refer to Donald Trump as a terrorist. I refer to his regime as terroristic. So to the extent I don't say unlawful every time, I hereby stipulate that it is an unlawful attack, an unlawful invasion. You know, I just don't, sometimes I can't say the word every time, but obviously I feel that way. If you're watching the stream, just we're 3 hours into the stream. Let's take a look right here. Call it interview. Okay, let's take a look right here. Israeli sources quoted by Channel 12 say the initial assessment is that leadership decapitation campaign against Iran is a notable success. Folks, this is a notable success, everybody. Notable success. That's where they're going with. A notable success. I mean, we could believe them saying it's a notable success, or we can believe what we're seeing was the notable success. Did that involve every other country in the Middle East getting hit? That's part of the success. And a U.S. naval base in Bahrain was hit. That UAE was hit. that Qatar was attacked, although I think their system stopped it. Riyadh was hit, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. Was that all? Did it all go according to plan? That was the plan right there? Yeah, lots of people are saying, well, where is Congress? Where is like, Ben, please stay awake. I'm gonna try. I'll try to stay awake for a little longer because here's the thing. It is Operation Epstein Fury. I'm not fully sure I'd be able to go to sleep anyway at this point. I'm still gonna have to do the morning video for 4:30. Like all the videos that I made now, like, so I make the videos in the night for the next day sometimes because I don't always wake up at 4:30 in the morning. But like none of my videos now for the day make sense. Yeah, we know Bahrain. Let's base. We know the base in Bahrain has been hit. We know that the base in Bahrain, that's the Navy base in Bahrain, has been hit. We know that Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Iraq, all Gulf countries except Oman, and the Bahrain one looked really bad because that was right by the U.S. 5th Support Center. That's where our Navy is. That's like the biggest. It's like where our biggest naval base is in the Middle East, right there in Bahrain. And we're hearing about explosions elsewhere as well, but there are sirens everywhere right now. And so I'm just trying to follow if there's any other real major pieces of this before I work on some of the morning videos. Let's take a look. Jennifer Griffin does a good job at Fox, says Israel is targeting Iranian leadership. The U.S. is targeting military targets and ballistic missile sites that pose an imminent threat. The U.S. military is not targeting Iran's leadership. Okay. And a brief phone call with the Washington Post just after 4 a.m. Saturday, Donald Trump said his main concern is freedom for the Iranian people and that the U.S. is working to make Iran a place that is safe. All I want is freedom for the people, Trump told the Post. Asked about what he hoped his legacy would be as a result of the operation. I want a safe nation, and that's what we're going to have. I still, what the hell is this guy talking about? Do you all realize that we very quickly went from stopping uranium enriched to making Iran safe, taking it over? I'm being told that if you go to Donald Trump's social media platform right now, let's look at the sicko. This is what he posted 10 minutes ago. Okay, folks. This is what he's posting while we're at war. We are at war. We are, if this isn't World War III right now, we're certainly very close to it. As the entire, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic or whatever. Like, I mean, what do you describe where you have every country in the Middle East currently under attack? Whatever. I won't go there. We're in war. Undisputed, we're at war. We're a nation at war. And I'm thinking about all of our troops right now. And I'm thinking about all of the people in that region who are being impacted by this, innocent people who are being impacted by this. And this idiot in Mar-a-Lago is posting photos of Fani Willis and saying a Georgia prosecutor pursued Trump. Biden DOJ invited her to get lucrative grant, memo show. As the Georgia prosecutor pursued Trump, Biden invited her to get a lucrative grant. That was his post. That was his post just like literally 12 minutes ago. While we're all on here trying to make sense of the images you're seeing here, our naval bases being attacked and potentially blown up in Bahrain, this guy's posting that. Yeah, I've used the D word, demented. Someone else said to me in the chat before, the word you're trying to find is demons. That these are demons. Horrible. Horrible stuff. All right, is everybody subscribed to this channel, by the way? Is everybody subscribed to our YouTube channel? You may think you're subscribed, but you may not actually be subscribed. So just double check that you're actually subscribed. And have you all checked out our Substack at MeidasPlus.com? Check out the Substack too at MeidasPlus.com. Double check that. All right, I'm going to do one more check of everything. Try to give you the most up-to-date information. And then I'll make my morning video so you can watch it at 4:30. And then I'll wake up and I'll do it again. All right, let me check out what's going on in Saudi Arabia right now and see if there's any updates there. Yeah, I mean we're hearing that there's I want to try to get visuals to see what happened, but I mean there's explosions have been heard over the Riyadh airspace. So I'm trying to see if there's any visuals there of Saudi Arabia. But we know that Iran did strike Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Israel, and then in the Strait of Hormuz, Arabian Sea area as well. They've said they're going to shut it down if it's not already shut down already. UK government spokesperson is saying let's see. The IDF has conducted strikes against Khamenei and the president, Israeli officials tell Axios. So we'll wait to see if there's any information there. UK government spokesperson, Iran must never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon, and that is why we have continually supported efforts to reach a negotiated solution. Yeah, we know that the IDF is conducting airstrikes against Khamenei and Mossad Pezeshkian, Israeli officials tell Axios. They've targeted the Iranian leadership. Another message from IDF, urgent warning to all individuals located inside or near military industrial factories. You are in proximity to weapons and facilities that are dangerous. Dear citizens, for the sake of your safety and health, we kindly request that you immediately evacuate the areas and remain outside of them until a new announcement is issued. And more explosions being heard right now in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Large U.S. airstrikes on Iranian military positions in the Damavand, Iran region. Airstrikes on Iraqi Hashad Shabi headquarters south of Baghdad kill 1 and wounded 3. We know that there were strikes against the Ayatollah, so I want to keep an eye out on that. There's a photo of in Dubai. One citizen of Dubai is already confirmed dead from falling missile debris, with missile impacts being reported in Dubai right now. UAE is accusing Iran of violating their sovereignty, and UAE reserves the right to respond. Yeah, lots of attacks in Dubai right now. Underway as we speak. Lots of attacks in Dubai. Lots of more explosions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, we know someone's been killed in Abu Dhabi already. But now UAE is saying that it reserves the right to respond with military force against Iran. What I'm interested in, I'm interested in seeing where the strikes on Riyadh hit. Not really seeing much there. We know Iranian regime forces have deployed heavy riot police around several large cities in anticipation of protests. We talked about that already. See if I can get us any more information before. Yeah, we know that according to Barak Ravid, the initial strikes against Iran by Israel were targeting senior and principal Iranian decision makers, including the president and supreme leader. I want to see if we get any information about the status of that. Let me look at the chat also. From people in the chat right now, I know Qatar. If you're hearing anything in the chat that I'm missing, let me know. I think I talked about Qatar being hit. Let me just see if there's any images of what that might look like. Yeah, I know the Al Udeid Air Force Base was targeted. And one of the things I thought, though, was that let's take a look. Al Udeid Air Force Base, Al Salim Air Force in Kuwait, Al Darfa Air Force Base in the USA, and the 5th U.S. base in Bahrain have been targeted, according to Iran's FAR news agency. I don't know the status of what happened with the Ayatollah or the president, but I can tell you that Iran sure is launching strikes at everybody in the region right now. And, you know, that developed while we've been on this live together. I know that Qatar was able to intercept a lot of these missiles, so I'm not sure if anything. Yeah, I think the latest from Qatar is that none of those missiles have yet to cause any damage. I'm looking at Abu Dhabi right now. Although I'm seeing an image from Qatar right now that looks like there was a hit. take a look. And by the way, we all know that while this is going on, there's a war between Pakistan and Afghanistan right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing video footage right now of Qatar looking like there was at least, I'm not sure if it hit a building or anything, but it looks like Qatar was hit. We know Bahrain was hit. All right, I'm going to do one more sweep of the news, and then I'll call it, and then I'll make a video for the morning, and then I'll come back in the morning and I'll do another one. I'll do another one soon. I think that there'll be an address by Donald Trump this morning to the nation, I suppose. Yeah, Trump is expected to address the nation again this morning, in addition to the video that was released. Israel's Channel 12 reports that an Israeli source says the operation against Iran's leadership has achieved a major success. That's what they're saying in Israel. Although we're seeing with our own eyes what's going on in the Middle East right now. All right. I think that gives us a pretty comprehensive review of everything that went down. And so I don't mean to leave you all hanging, but I probably should go to sleep, wake up. We'll do it again in the morning. Make sure you all hit subscribe. Thanks for spending the last 3 hours or so with me since this all started. Hit subscribe, of course. Continue to monitor it on your own, of course. And I'll see you in a few hours. I'll see you in a few hours. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you. Shout out to the Midas Mighty. Make sure you're subscribed and check out our Substack as well at MidasPlus.com. Thanks everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filikowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MidasPlus.com.